Hey, welcome everybody. François Letarte for my role-playing channel, and this is the RPG Day number 0. This is the video that will prepare the RPG I'm doing this year. So this year, I think I've talked about it in my last video, but I will I will go with the prompts with the already created character that I had in the past. So I will tie the words to any of these characters and try to talk about them positively, of course, presenting them to you bit by bit for every words. So I have selected, I'm just counting down, I think it's 7 characters. Yeah, 7 characters that I have played in the past. So this video, the goal of this video is to talk more generally about these characters, and I will try to make the in the description, the time mark that talk about those characters, and I will try to make them available on each video of the RPG where those characters appear. So if you want to know more about the character, because I will talk very shortly about them. So in the RPG, so right now I will be more explicit about those characters, talking to you a little bit about them. Just from the top of my head, I haven't prepared that much, so yeah, here it is. I will show them to you. So the first character I want to present to you is Reverend's Colbix Cold. Yes, a character I've played in the PBTA game called Uncharted World, so a science fiction role-playing game. Okay, I have chosen some images. You might say, oh, this is a character from Marvel and all that. Yes, I know. I just wanted to have a character that looks like much how I saw it in my head. So it's just for reference. And I didn't want to go with AI. No, I'm not a fan of AI. So I will try to not use it. So I'm just taking some photos of or artworks from the internet. And okay, so Reverend Colbix called is a priest praying the golden changer, a some sort of a galactic entity, and there's a whole religion about this god, a god about talking about the changes, okay, making positive changes in your life. At first, when this character got there with he's the captain of a ship called the Second Chance. Well, it was called Coming Soon at first, but it has changed the name during the campaign. So yeah, this is a religious type, or who is talking about this God without imposing it. If someone wants a change, he will be there for these persons. And the change was more about cybernetic implants and stuff that make your life longer. But throughout the campaign, he discovered a lot of stuff and discovered that the change was not about having a long life. It's about just having positive changes in your life, which he discovered because he was able to get in communication with the golden changer itself, the entity in space. And he always thought that he has to live for thousands of years to achieve that. That's what the religion itself is talking about, but he was kind of a chosen one, and he had a good relation, which helped him with a lot of crisis. It was, well, one of the big crises he was involved with was monoliths that were brought in on many planets and that were controlling the people in their mind. And the Golden Changer was there to help him and get through these problems. Of course, he was not alone. He had a good crew. He was, for a time, he has his own daughter being the pilot. He had a mechanic, a teenager mechanic who very talented. He had a rat that was a robot, was linking on every computer system easily, and a doctor that created, in fact, the substance that could fight the monolith, which was called Oxymune. So yeah, this was a good crew, and some other that went by what that came in and went by in this group. This character for me is important in the sense that it's the first time in my life in role playing game that I got through a whole campaign with the character with an ending, a proper ending. So this is the character that made me get through this. So Reverend Colbix called a very serious religious man and a, a good ear for people, and he wants everyone to change for better. Second character. It's not in a particular order again. This is Sorius Grave, a mage in fantasy age role-playing game. Yeah, this is the character I'm currently playing, by the way. A mage with mastering the art of the air and the illusions. I really love Fantasy Age, by the way. This is a great fantasy role-playing game. It's so very well made. It has, just to talk about a little bit about this game, it has just the right amount of crunch that I like, while being, I wouldn't say narrative, but it kind of help you, narrate well. It's kind of fluid. The game system that makes sense. Okay, I'm very pleased with this game. In Sorius Grave, what is his story? His story began in a forest. Okay, he was in a village in the center of a forest that was kind of living by itself. He has learned his magic from a master called Corey. Uh, and this was a very isolated place. In fact, all of the kingdoms around were very isolated after there was some fights against magic users and the use of magic, and every cities and villages are trying to rebuild themselves, and without claiming any land other than what they need. So it's kind of a society that is being rebuilt. And he went on adventure to discover the world with his friends. He had a lot of friends around him, coming by and and just leaving after a while. That is the when you have a campaign, that's the sorts of stuff happen. So yeah, so he went to explore a lot and discovered a lot about the world. There was goat mans that were attacking villages. There were some minotaurs, and it was all around the coming back of a big dragon that was the center of many bad things that happened in the past. And his master was involved into repelling the dragon, but at some point the master have died and gave him his staff. So my character has a tool to try to fight back the dragon. So basically, he's trying to collect informations to ease up the task that is awaiting him at some point. And he also has a nemesis, another student that his master had before him and kind of fell in the dark side. So yeah, so that's pretty much his story. A lot of happened. He was involved in a siege. He got deep into the enemy lines with illusions, trying to spy on everyone. And he's in love with an old scribe from one of the biggest city in the region called Phaeton. So yeah, he's in love with the scribe. The lady is over 30 years older than him, but he's in love with her. So that's pretty much what I had to say. So this is Sorius Grave. The other one, okay. I'm showing the French version of the game, but this is actually advanced fighting fantasy. So this is the same page I will use, and this is a bay, and his name is Berouth. So if you say his race and his name, it sounds like Babe Ruth. You know who Babe Ruth is? A great baseball player. These characters appeared in the fighting fantasy book called City of Thieves, and when you discover them, you can play baseball with them and try to win some money. That is the trick. So yeah, I'm spoiling one of the scenes in the City of Thieves. So I decided I felt that I liked them, so I decided to create this character. Basically, I'd say that this is him, okay? The right one you see in the book, this is my character. And he's a great baseball player. He can throw stuff. He's very precise, and he really loved this sport. But at some point, he broke the window of the Baron of Black Sand. And shame on me, I don't remember his name, but this is a very nasty guy, okay? So for something like that, you could be tried for death. So at some point, he fled Black Sand to try to go on an adventure. He also has a religious side, okay? He's praying the goddess of the sea because Black Sand is by the sea. And at some point, he's doing his prayers and throw as far as he can stuff in the sea as an offering to be listened by his goddess. So he has some magical powers with that. But nevertheless, he got a little bit into adventure. I never had the chance to play him a lot, but he was on a big boat with lots of zombies in it, and the game master didn't like that. But I said, let's fuck the boat. It's too difficult. He wanted to throw us into that boat, but it was just too difficult. But nevertheless, that is basically what he is, a bait, okay, in Port Blacksand, loving to play baseballs, but couldn't go back to his home city because he broke the window of the Lord. Next one. Probably one of my favorite character of all, Alphonse Riolt, Brisecoeur in All for One, Regime Diabolique. What can I say about him? Well, he's a very overconfident person who is he's very confident about his charm, about how people sees him. He really thinks that everyone is his friend, and he behaves like that with everyone. And usually he's able to buy that friendship to anyone he talks to because he's able to do it. Of course, the ladies of Paris loves him. He thinks it's a very charming man, and he's been close to many ladies. It can be ladies from the people, can be noble ladies, name them. He kind of tricked them with his charm, uncanny charm. Probably his charm made him go into the musketeer ranks. He's not much of a fighter. He's good, but he's more able with his mouth than his sword. Yeah, that's pretty much how Brisecoeur is, and his overconfidence and all of that, make him a great asset into fighting evil forces like vampires and werewolves because he can keep his cool very easily. So basically, he's been around Paris with his lackey, Eugene, which was not a man, but a lady in love with Brisecoeur, but trying to get close to him, not knowing how he would receive that if he knew that he was a lady, which led to a lot of funny scenes. And yeah, he's been in a lot of trouble. Okay, he's been captured by Wendigo. He's been in jail because he ran naked around the Louvre. So yeah, a lot of stuff happened. But at some point, people kind of forgive him because he's so gentle and charming. So yeah, basically that's the thing. So he's been a great friend of the other musketeers, Jean-Marie, Martin, Philippe, and shame on me, I don't remember the name of the last player that came with us. But well, he never played with him, so yeah, at some point he never had that relation with. Sorry for the water, but he never had that relation with that other player. Hey, shame on me, I just forgot names today, but I'm continuing. So this is Brisecoeur, an exquisite musketeer. The other one, I've played him a lot. It was in the game The Dark Eye, the 4th edition. Dark Eye, which is a German game. This is the English version of the 4th edition. The only book that came out from that edition. It was back in 2000, around that when it came out. But you know what other fantasy game was on the shelves? Well, Dungeons and Dragons Third Edition that had a lot of success back then. So never got the chance to be known by the people. Um, and it was supposed to come with many other supplements with which never came out because they were never able to launch that book properly. Nevertheless, I've played that a couple of years. Very particular system, and I've played this guy, a Torwalian called Gruff. He's a hunter, but he used to be a carpenter. He exiled himself from his native village because he was kind of accused to have murdered the mayor's daughter, which was simply an accident. She just fell down in a ravine when they were walking together. So he kind of let himself go away and be alone in the woods trapping and making some exchange with nearby villages. And at some point, he was recruited to have that great mission. It was to map out the Orklands, a place where there were no maps since it was very dangerous, a lot of orcs, and other great problems. So he was with Mavon, the elf, and Marjo. It was kind of a swashbuckler. And other characters came in the group, but it was the main core group, and was very impressed, by the way, by Mavon. Never saw an elf before, and he was always amazed to see him make magic. He's kind of 7 foot tall, which is normal for a Torwalian. So he got through a lot of great, well, I'd say great adventures. These are well, it was rough. He freed some slaves in the Orklands. He faced a dragon, which he tried to lure away with an arrow shot, but kind of missed himself. So it was Maven who saved the day that in that particular session. Yeah, he was under a lot of stress. Officially, never came out of the Orklands. We never finished the campaign. And what I remember last game was a very difficult position. So I like to think that never got through it. He died in the Orklands. Another character was in Pathfinder, a knight called Irwin. The same setting that Sorius, the other character in Fantasy Age, but it was a period, maybe a century before, maybe more. I'm not sure. Our game master was never clear on what time passed between when he was there and the other one, Pathfinder. Great game, not my cup of tea, but nevertheless, I had a lot of fun with Irwin, a knight of Trevelis, and he was very fond of his knighthood and his knight order, and he's trying to show it up to everyone. Very firm man, very honest person, very intimidating person when it came to when he was facing enemies. Okay, he was courageous, was a little bit reckless. He was supposed to marry the daughter of a rich merchant called Nolan, but he was more in love with another player character, a lady that was kind of a sorcerer mage, especially a twisted union that might have happened because it never happened, but because he was very suspicious of magic. The kingdom was trying to draw out the magic, but he has learned with his companions to get out a little bit of his knightly behaviors and be more open to other type of people in the society, because he was adventuring with many many thieves and more people from the wood, people he would regard, I'm losing my word, but people he would regard from the top. he was thinking that they were lower classes than him. Okay, yeah, you understood. So yeah, so he had to try to make himself at the same level of them in order to work with them. So it was a great journey in himself to try to get there, and discover that his own knight order was corrupted, and he was probably the one that was less corrupted. He had no corruption in it, so he was very disgusted by his colleagues. Irwin. And finally, Star Wars role-playing game. This is Flidior. Flidior, the young Jedi, during the Rebellion era. It was very hard from him. He was recruited by the Reckonese Roughneck. Yes, the same one from the campaign pack from the first edition. Yeah, he was recruited. His companions, his more close companion, were Vince, the pilot of the ship, Elmer, the gunner, and Sarah, a prisoner that they have freed, and she was so force sensitive. Of course, the usual Star Wars routine for a rebel, getting into bases, trying to demolish outposts from the Imperials, and trying to sabotage anything the Empire was trying to do in their space region. So he was involved in that, and he was trying to use the Force and all of that. But he has a lot of anxiety. He never really had a master, since they were kind of killed during Order 66. And he knew that he was a potential target from the Empire and Darth Vader and any agents of the Empire trying to chase down people like him. So he was at some point forced to go away with Sarah, trying to protect her. And there was some sort of a love triangle between him, Sarah, and Vince. Both of the guys were in love with Sarah, but Sarah kind of followed Flidior because she wanted to protect herself. She had some fear in her heart to be chased down as well, since she was a force sensitive person. So she was in love with him, but their story never got beyond when they got away into a strange unknown planet together to live their life. What happened to him? It was Blade. Was 35 years ago. So I could consider that he's 35 years older now. So about my age. I don't know. So all this big ramble just to present to you the characters that are featured into RPG A Day this year. I hope you like it. So every word is tied to one of those characters. So we'll see. So up to next time. I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.